Hello and welcome to this week's episode of your #1 tech program on TV, Rave Tech, coming your way every week on your station Rave TV. And I'm your host, Louisa Olaniye. Yes, this is the last week in the month of June. You agree with me that it's been a tech-taining month, and we'll look forward to more fantastic things happening in the tech world. With that, I bid you a warm welcome to today's episode of the program. As usual, we're going to bring you the news segment, our interview session, and all the segments in the program. Sit back, relax, and enjoy as I take you first to our news segment for this week, and we'll be back. Stay with us. On tech news for the week. National Identity Number mandatory from September 1. The National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, has slated September 1 this year as deadline to enforce compliance of all the transactions involving National Identification Number, NIN. This was made known in a statement made available to the press in Abuja on Monday. According to NIMC General Manager, Corporate Communications, the agency has been on and about the importance of the identification in most national dailies, that the use of the NIN shall become mandatory on all transactions offered by applicable government institutions from the 1st of September. According to the Commission, these transactions, pursuant to Section 27, subsection 1 and 2 of the NIMC Act 2007, include applications for and issuance of international passports, opening of individual and or group bank accounts, etc. Also affected are all consumer credit purchase of insurance policies, purchase, transfer and registration of land by any individual, National Health Insurance Scheme, NHIS, such transactions that have social security implications, registration of voters, payment of taxes and pensions, amongst others. Consequently, any government agency, institution, bank, insurance company, and all other institutions offering services and or involved in transactions requiring the identity of an individual must first demand for the NIN. According to the NIMC General Manager, Inspectorate Regulatory and Compliance Services, Mrs. Hadiza Dagabana. She further stated that any individual, institution and body who fails to comply with the above has committed an offence punishable under Section 28 of the NIMC Act. The Commission urged citizens to ensure that they are enrolled into the country's database, disclosing that there are about 404 enrollment centers nationwide, and the exercise will be hastened as soon as the Commission scales up its facilities and infrastructure. ICT stakeholders charged to take advantage of the 2015 trade fair. Stakeholders in the information, communication and technology world were called to take advantage of this year's edition of the Lagos International Trade Fair by partaking in the 3-in-1 fair organized by the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, LCCI. This invitation was made at the public presentation of the 2015 Lagos International Trade Fair prospectus on Tuesday at the LCCI office in Lagos.
Prosperity of Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry and its members and our prospective exhibitors, I present to you 2015 Lagos International Trade Fair prospectus. Thank you. 2015 Lagos International Trade Fair with the logo of the trade fair, Friday 6th to Sunday 15th November 2015, holding at Tafawa Balewa Square, Onikan, Lagos, with the theme Enhancing Value Addition in the Non-Oil Economy of Nigeria. We have our official sponsors.
This year, the venue is becoming free, We are going to be having the fair simultaneously in 3 different centers on Central Lagos: the Tafawa Balewa Square, the Muson Center, and the Freedom Park. And what we've done is to try as much as possible as we can to satisfy the yearnings of all the exhibitors. We have the ones who want to come in just for business-to-business meetings, and we're taking that to Muson Center. Then we're looking at the whole gamut of the creative industry. This industry has been confirmed and has been identified as one of the major contributors to the GDP of Nigeria. And that is one industry that has been neglected. So we are now creating a whole new fair. We call it Ikwakete. That is the Lagos Creative Industry Fair, running simultaneously with Lagos International Fair at the Freedom Park. That is what we're doing. We are doing it in conjunction with some major bodies in that sector. The creative industry has been a place where people display a lot of talents. But this talent, most of the time, has not turned to wealth or money for the people who have that innate talent. So what we're doing now is that to bring business and creative arts together such that the creative man can also learn how to do business with his talent and make money from what God has given him. So that is what we're doing.
Also speaking at the event was Alhaji Remi Bello, President LCCI, who spoke on the uniqueness of this year's event, the choice of the theme, while also addressing some of the challenges raised by stakeholders.
What has brought the idea of multiple centers for organizing the fair is to bring in more interest, more sectors, like we are trying to do. Creative industry is being brought into the exhibition. What we used to have before was a situation where creative industry, while our fair was ongoing, will be having their own fair elsewhere. We now thought we should collaborate. It's not peculiar to our environment. We have it at other clients. The train has started to move. So as it is, the preparation, like the presentation made by the director, shows that we are ready, we are prepared to go. Everything is online. You will agree with me that the theme is very apt for the situation we found ourselves in the country. Before the new government took over, was when we even decided that theme by the Council of the Chamber. The idea is we've always been depending on the oil, and the way things are going, here we are now. Most governments of the Federation cannot pay their salaries because there is crisis in the global oil market. If we are not depending on oil, yes, it will not be the same situation. We want to see a situation whereby we can banish poverty, whereby we can add value to our agricultural products.
Consistently for 28 years, the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry has successfully hosted this annual business event, which has grown to become the biggest and the best organized fair in West and Central Africa. The 2015 theme, which is Enhancing Value Addition in the Non-Oil Economy, will take place from Friday 6th November to Sunday 15th November 2015, simultaneously at 3 different venues: the Tafawa Balewa Square, Muson Center, and the Freedom Park on Broad Street, Lagos. And that's it for Tech News for this week. Do join us again next week for more updates. Glad to have you back from that news segment. Yes, talking about the National Identity Number, the NIN. It's a must for all Nigerians come September 1st. Of course, that message coming to you by the NIMC. Yes, it's becoming compulsory. It's going to be made compulsory come September. So go get yours. If you've not, go get yours now before it is too late. That's how we've been, ringing the bell concerning the BVN. That's the bank verification number. All of this is necessary for us to meet into Western world, or at least to be at par with global best practices. It's a necessity, so go get yours and be in line. September 1 is the deadline, so don't wait to be told. Up next on the program is our interview segment with my brilliant guest. We'll be looking at reputation economy, what brand needs to put up there on the internet so that they can be found. And of course, when you're found, what are those information that people will tap into? What will put you in the good books There's a saying that you are who Google says you are. Really, trust me. And my guest is going to deal with that today. How you can position yourself on the internet as a business owner. And of course, those things you need to take off that it's not necessary. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this session.
My name is Clara Okoro, and I'm the executive producer at Brand World Media. It's the digital age we're living in now. It's what technology has impacted on society globally. It's very obvious that businesses no longer can afford to remain neutral without taking into cognizance building their reputation online, because virtually in every society now you have people have access to online and the web. And so if you're going to be talking to them, if you need a point of contact with them, you have to meet them at the point where they meet, the convergence point, which is digital. So when you build a reputation, what it then means is when people meet you in the digital sphere, what information do they have about you? What sort of personality comes up when they type in your name? These are the things you have to understand, that it actually takes some sort of effort to build. When you have a reputation online, it means somebody can actually go there and find a full-fledged information access about you, and it really makes sense to them, because it does in the end attract business, you know. So it's very crucial that your online personality is very attractive. If, for instance, you have access to global opportunities to partner with business partners, and they haven't ever spoken to you physically or haven't ever had any dealings with you, in your country, all they would have to do is go online, Google your name, and try to find out every information that you might not be aware they are actually accessing. It's like doing, a sort of would we call it investigation? Yes. So when they have access to that, they've built, some sort of, would I call it information about you. And okay, if we're having this meeting with these people, if we come down, this is what and what we know about them. And how did they come about that? It's the reputation you already have online. It's the information you fed online that, comes back to people when they type in your name online and try to get access to who you are. That's what we're saying, that it's very crucial you take it very seriously, because if you have anything negative, that's what's going to pop up. And that's the information anybody will absorb about you. Some people are very, very critical about this. Anything online about them that is negative, they go the extra mile to put it off or purge it off online. Because whatever you store online is there forever. Somebody could be searching, and that's the information they will access. You might even have forgotten about it over the years, but it will still be there, and it could make or mar a decision somebody is about to take concerning you if they want to deal with you. For instance, if we're talking personal now about individuals, when people were younger, they do all sorts of, foolish things that teenagers do, and then leave those things online without understanding the implications in the future. And then years later, they've left college, they've left the university, they are now fully employed somewhere. And somewhere along the line, somebody has access to those terrible pictures or information they posted when they were young. It could actually make them lose their job or cause a scandal they never ever thought of. First and foremost, I would say it's a little bit challenging when, as an individual, people post up personal things online. It will eventually rub off, even if you never intended it that way. You're seeking a job somewhere and people want to have, a background check on you. They go online. Those things you posted would be a reflection of what they figure you might do if you come into the company. They might not be comfortable with you being, given secrets or trade secrets about the company, because they figure, okay, if you are very, comfortable with letting out personal information online, that's what you might do in the company if you come in. So these are things they use to assess the sort of, it's like a psychological test of, okay, if this person is capable of doing this online without understanding the implications, if we let them into this sensitive position in the company, it's the same thing they're going to do. Likewise, a company as well, It's, for instance, I mean, there is a case of a company in the United States that had, it was an airline that had a very bad experience with a customer, and he did all he can to try and get restitution for what he felt was the wrong done to him, and they ignored him, and he went online and posted it in a very funny way, and he went viral, and he started losing them business. And that was when they understood that they had to give him a call to call him out for a meeting, but it was too late. And because of that, over the years, that made a lot of people who Google that airline to use them, and that story pops up, makes them take a decision not to use that airline. So the implication is that these things are online for a long time, and except you probably invest in the software to purge them off, you know, from online, it will keep over the year popping up and affecting your business. Yeah, every day there are new innovations coming up in the digital industry and in, you know, apps and solutions, you know, for a lot of things that happens in the technology industry. And good enough now, there are softwares one can deploy to be able to expunge information online if you want to. And also, I mean, if you even write the some of the companies that already own these platforms like Google and co, and tell them the reason why you want to extract those information offline, you know, they can actually accept and do that for you. So aside of the softwares you can deploy, there's softwares that can expunge things online if you don't want them there. You can also write to those platforms that own it, and they can extract it off. It's very technical because, yeah, there are definitely stages they would have to go through before they expunge those information, and I think it has to be backed by law somehow. If you're saying that information has to be taken down, there's some legal implications to it. You know, for the softwares, I'm not very exact about the costings, but I know they do exist, and if it's those who are professionally in the technology industry who deal in those softwares that would have access to the prices, but I know they do exist, because also sometimes if there is a mention somewhere online about companies or their brand drivers, immediately that name is typed in, it notifies them in the office that, look, somewhere like this with an IP address has already mentioned your name, so let's find out whether it's for good or for bad, or what kind of story is trending that your name has to pop up in the office that someone has mentioned your name somewhere in the world. If you invest in that software I talked about, where if anytime your name is mentioned online, it pops off in your office that, look, there's been a mention, and so you now click on where that name or the IP address is, and you find out what your name was mentioned on about. And so if it's a negative story and it's not true, you counter it. I mean, you type back and say, look, this story is not false, we don't know where you got this information, and if it's, you know, something that you put online without our consent, we have a right to sue you and all that. So you can actually take action if you knew it was wrong information. I mean, it's online, everybody can see what's going on, and if that's done, I think it's a step forward, you know. It's basically done in this matter because we have some partners we work with outside the country. You want to build a reputation. There are platforms now. You have basically the most common everybody uses is Google. Now Google has become like a wingman. It's become like an FBI. If I want information about you, I type in details and it sources out that information and brings it out for me. But where a lot of professionals go to is LinkedIn. And so what happens is we create content for you by the information you pass on to us. We create the content, we write up stories, we design what you figure, because sometimes people would have a vision, but how to articulate it might become a problem. So we design it the way you'd like the world to see you. It's about perception. If the world goes online, who do they see? Just like we normally used to say, like in the Bible, Jesus asked them, who do people say I am? You know, so when I go online, who do people say Rave TV? So we've developed the content, we've developed the personality. We now seed those personalities on LinkedIn. You have landing pages. So when all that has been developed and I go on Google, the first sheets that will come out will be those stories about you on LinkedIn. Most times Facebook, because it's social, comes at the end, you know, but LinkedIn, Google Plus and all that has very specific information about what you do, your career direction, your management level officers, their CVs and everything online. The stories about your vision, your mission and everything comes up on those landing pages. And that's what, when somebody goes on Google and types in Rave TV, that's what will flourish and then will come out. Well, it's basically about saying, if you think education is expensive, well, try ignorance. It's not that it's so expensive, but it is an investment if you actually know the implications for you in the future. Take, for example, you're ambitious, you have a career plan, and then you know that someday you're going to have headhunters looking for you. Wherever that company that would seek you is, in the first instance, what they're going to do is Google your name online, and it's what comes out that is going to be the primary, focus of what your personality is to them. Your achievements and everything will eventually come in later when they do their statistical analysis of all the information they've gotten about you. And that's when they can now send somebody after you and say, okay, would like you to come work for our company. But first, they'll build their impression on the reputation of what they've seen online about you. So yes, it's an investment. It does cost money, but it's very, very crucial for those who want to build a career. That's what it's called, like the SEOs. The company who does it for you makes sure that they impute this in so many search engines. The search engines that are very, very key to Google. So when they click on your name, when they type in your name on Google, those SEOs will rise first. If you're not very strong online, it might be a bit difficult to pick up your name. It's like an aggregation. When they type in your name, if you're very strong online, first, second, third, fourth pages will carry information about you. And this is based on the search engines. They've already supplied this information about you because they already have the information about the ones that work with Google first. So when they aggregate that, it means, yes, anybody that searches will have about 3-4 pages first about your information. Once you type in something like SEO companies online on Google, a lot of them will show up. You might not even have to see them physically. They might be companies outside the country or even in Nigeria, but since it's a digital thing, you can actually convey with them online, feed them the information you want them to type in, and they do that for you. I think people should realize now we're in the digital age. There is no way as a brand you won't have a convergence point online. It's very, very critical. And when you relate online, you have to be very careful about what you put there, because basically in the future, if it's negative, it might come back to haunt you.
Welcome back from that session. You agree with me that that was really enlightening, what you need to do to position yourself on social media. You are who Google says you are, really, trust me, because whatever you input there is what will come out each time you're being searched for. And I also like the fact that she said, okay, things that you should do to become the top 10. I call it top 10 there when, of course, someone is searching for companies or services that are related to what you do. So with all of that, you can reposition yourself on the internet and make sure that you are found. Being found is key. And of course, good reputation. They say good name, they say, is better than silver or gold. Thank you very much, Clara of Brand World. And of course, moving over to our next segment, we'll be looking at our tech CEO for this week. But before I go into the tech CEO, yes, are you a CEO? Do you have products and services you want to showcase to the rest of the world? Do you have tech products that you want to be reviewed? Yes, all you need to do to be part of this program is to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and also call the numbers you have on your screen to be part of this program. And of course, we'll take your product and services to all the ends of the earth. Up next on the program is our tech CEO for today. A detailed profile of a CEO for today is up next, and the program continues. Stay with us. Yes, with that segment is a wrap on today's episode of Rave Tech, your #1 tech program on TV. Like I always say, you want to be part of this program, you can do so by contacting us using the social media platforms as you have displayed on your screen, or sending your text messages or even calling with the number you have there. And we'll get to talk on how you can be part of this program. For sponsorship details, advert placement, everything you need to know about the program, and of course constructive criticisms, and of course commendation on how the program can get better, you can do so via the numbers and the social media platforms you have on your screen. Yes, I have to take a bow, but before I go, I want to say Ramadan Kareem to all our beautiful Muslim brothers and sisters in the month of Ramadan. We say, may the Almighty Allah grant you the grace to go through this fasting period with all fulfillment. So until I come your way again next week, same time, same station, remember that information is key. Technology have really come to stay. Embrace technology and stay informed. My name is Louisa Olani. Until I come your way again, be techie. Bye-bye.